welcome to the Badlands National Park located in South Dakota. It's just outside Wall, South Dakota, a fantastic historical town. This is located off the I-90, a short little drive here. And we've gotten here early in the morning. The rooster hasn't even crowed yet. We're that early. So we're gonna come and see parts of the Badlands that I think you're gonna find are actually Goodlands and not actually Badlands, because they are gonna be so incredibly beautiful. You will be shocked if you've never been here. If you've just heard the name Badlands, you might have conjured up some really ugly looking sights in your head, but the Badlands is really beautiful. So the B should stand for beautiful, and they ought to change the name to Goodlands National Park if I had my way. Well, let's get on into the park and let's get exploring here. Our first stop is Pinnacles overlook. It's not too far into the park. When you come in, as we did, you'll be taking a left at the T to come to here. We are on the Badlands Loop Road now. If you go to the right, you'll be going on the Sage Creek Rim Road, I believe it is. For now, we're going to go on the Badlands Loop Road. Look at this incredible view that we have already. Badlands they just go on and on and on. It's overcast this morning, so we've got some flat light. So it's going to cause a lot of the features to blend into each other if you're photographing. Well, we may not want direct light. It's nice to have a little bit of side lighting, so sometimes a little bit later in the day, if it's cloudy, can be your best time to get some shots here, unless you're looking for color like at sunrise or sunset. One of the other really fun things that I found about here that I enjoy is that there's often bighorn sheep in this area. They're always fun to see. Although I'm sure they're like all over the park, this seems to be the most popular spot where I've been able to photograph them and capture them. In fact, I saw some earlier just down here. I've got a camera with a longer lens. We'll see if we can get a few photos of them for you. As is often the case here, it can be rather windy out here. So hold on to your hats, because they could blow away. Even though the light may not be perfect right now, this looks really nice. Some more intimate scenes, maybe convert to black and white. Lots of nice little ridges throughout this. There isn't a hike here at Pinnacles, but this rim goes on for quite a distance, so it might feel like a little bit of a hike. Just continuing on down there. There's a lot to see around here. I just saw bighorn sheep right at the end there disappear down, so maybe it's crawling down into the canyon. I managed to get a photo or two of it, but it had its butt in my face, so not really happy with the photo. Walk a little further, see what we can get. As I've walked to the end, I've found the bighorn sheep. They've gone off the edge over there to the end. This is as far as I'm going to go. I don't want to get any closer to them. I'll take photos from a distance, but it looks really cool with them on that, what will be for us a very narrow ledge there, but not for them. Oh, they're starting to drop down. At least the dad did, it looked like. I'll assume he's the dad. I could be wrong though. You can see the little baby there. It's so cool to see like a little family right there. That is just so neat. I'm gonna come off, go over here a little bit, leave them a way to get back off if they want, although it looks like they're going down. I'll go over there and we get a few more photos. I've now gone way off on the other side. If you look close, you can see them walking along that thin little trail. What an incredible experience. And I've been photographing them from here with, like I say, I've got a 150 to 600 millimeter Tamron lens that I'm using. So I can get it nice and close. You would think I was only 2 feet away with my photos, but I'm probably about 200 feet away from over here. Wow, this is just so awesome. I'd only plan on showing you just Pinnacles at the top and showing you a little bit overlooking, but as is often the case, sometimes as we explore, we just keep going. But I'm going to wrap it up here so we can get on to some of the other overlooks, because there's a whole lot more to see here at Badlands National Park. We're heading to Ancient Hunters Overlook. This section of the park, I really enjoy the road. It's like you're just right down inside. It's just so incredible. Look at the views that we have here. Just the rocks all over, all around us, towering around us as we go. This is so incredible. What a beautiful drive. This little section here is probably like one of my favorite drives in all of the United States. Also along this drive is a great place to see some bighorn sheep. I don't see any right now, but still there's usually some around here if we open our eyes. Alright, you saw how short of a drive this was to the Ancient Hunters Overlook. It's just right here. We'll get out and let you see it. This is the view you have at Ancient Hunters Overlook. I'll have to be honest with this, with full disclosure. This is probably my least favorite overlook. When you've seen like Pinnacles and seen some of the other places we're gonna go, you might understand. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's got its own little charm in its own little way. But I will say this is my least favorite. I will take some photos though. Won't stop me from taking any photos, but this is my least favorite. It's kind of an interesting view, but it's just kind of just this, and you can see some stuff way off in the distance, but this is kind of just it. So we're gonna go on and I'll show you probably my favorite area in the park. It's not named. I don't know why it's not named. At least it's not named on the maps. But we will go and check that out. And back on the road again. Some more of my favorite section of roadway right here, leading to what I believe is my favorite part of Badlands National Park. We'll have to see if you agree with me. just like being just surrounded by these towering rocks. It's just so grand. It's a majestic view all to its own. Stop. There's a couple pull-out areas that you can stop and look. I like this area because you get to descend down into it a little bit. You get some greens and some reds to mix with all the browns. It's so incredible. I'm gonna get out here and we will check out my favorite area in the park. And here we come to what I believe is the best part of the park. It's my favorite part. Look at the way the dry creek just winds through that. You can go tighter if you're photographing. This is a great spot at sunset. You can get colors up here in the clouds. You've got these cool ridges back there. You can go horizontal like this. You can go vertical. Sometimes I'll go up just up there just a little bit, and you can get this and get this. We'll walk up there so you can see. But I just love we've lowered down into the Badlands a little bit, so now got these greens, we've got these beautiful reds, the browns. Man, it's just gorgeous here. So let's go up a little bit and I'll show you one of my favorite compositions. Okay, I had to switch to a little wider lens here even, because this is the way this comes through. You're on a little hill here, so it's a little hard. You don't really get the full nose of this, but you get the idea of it, which is really cool. So you got that leading off, you got this huge nice mound right there, and depending if the clouds work with you, you can get a lot of cool stuff in the clouds. So I really like this spot. And again, it's just gorgeous. You know, so sometimes it's sunrise, but most often it's sunset. It's just incredibly gorgeous. Just so neat how that creek just winds through there. There's just so many ways to photograph this. Started to get a few raindrops here. Hopefully it just stays light so we can keep videoing out here. Look at that. See how cool this looks just walking down here? Look at that. This is so awesome. And you can see in the foreground, we get a little closer to go down here, just these cool colors are just right at your feet. You just can't go wrong here. What's neat is, you know, I'm looking to the west here, well, you know, now to the north, but you've got this side of the road like this, and as you'll see in a minute, the other side of the road it's different, but it's equally as mesmerizing. So what's neat with this area is like almost no matter where the color is in the sky, when you're having a sunrise or sunset, you can find a great composition here because you can shoot 360 degrees here depending on where you move. And it's just across the road, here's our view. As I told you, it's really beautiful here, even on this side of the road. So you got both sides of the road with just magnificent views. This is looking kind of southeast in this direction. The sun just kind of barely poked its head out once, but so far it's hiding, just kind of putting a little glow in the clouds. You got a little orange coloring in the clouds, even though the sun's up, which is kind of a nice addition. Look at this view. Just look at all these colors. Look at all the oranges we got on the ground. Oranges and reds and greens and browns. It's just so beautiful. Found here a little lonely sunflower. Little sunflower just blowing in the wind. Just magnificent. I would say probably the majority of what I consider my really good photographs from the Badlands, if you can hear me over the wind, has been taken in this area here on one side of the road or the other. I've moved down just maybe 100 yards to the next pullout to show you some more views. Changes quite a bit by just simply moving, a couple 100 feet down the road. Look at that fantastic line there. This is looking to the east again. This is your view. Just a second, I'll jump over and we'll give you the view to the west. This is looking to the west. Well, probably southwest right here, but this is the west side. It's probably west is right over there. Look at how beautiful and just incredible this looks. I don't know if you can see over there, but there's a guy on a bike. He's riding his bike through the park. What an awesome trip that must be. Although the wind's really picked up, so might make it a little more difficult for him if he's pedaling against the wind. Oh, just look at this. Isn't that just some cool lines, all these ridges. The sun's a little bit brighter now to add a little bit of relief to some of these edges, and starts giving us a little more depth now to our photos. On the west side here, there's a little hill, just a little bump you can walk along. Just look at this. Okay, I've moved. That's looking west. And this is looking towards the northwest. You can spend all day in this spot or just keep coming back to it throughout the day as the light changes. I certainly do. This is also a really great spot. Well, the other side of the road's great for shooting the Milky Way. This side, you can shoot the stars. It depends on the season, right? But this is a really great spot for shooting night photos. I just love this. You get a little bit of a small moon behind you to light paint the ground, get the stars going along with it, perhaps the Milky Way. Oh, it just becomes magical. Well, let's continue on and see if we can find any more magic in Badlands National Park. Well, this next overlook will have a very obvious sounding name, I think you'll find. It's called Yellow Mounds Overlook. And we are just right next to the parking area. There you see the road. There is some more yellow mounds. The yellow mounds are just all over this area. It is just so cool looking. I'm going to walk up the top and follow this little trail to the top of this yellow mound. That looks kind of interesting. I think I'm going to, I'm done videoing here in a second, I'm going to walk back down and take a photograph right there. It's kind of cool looking. Sure looks cool, but it's not just yellow. You still have some reds and greens, which really add for some nice contrast. It's a little windy, as you can tell. Hopefully you can hear me. It had been sprinkling a little bit. We got a nice little dusting, which is kind of cool actually, because it'll help make the colors pop a little bit more for us. Maybe we can keep our fingers off the saturation button when we process our photos. Nothing wrong with it, because I use it. But it's always nice when you can just get these natural colors just popping when they're wet. Here's the mounds across on the other side of the road. They are yellow with a little bit of red frosting at the top. Now you can see some people walking back on the trail there a little bit. It's starting to rain a little bit more, so they're walking a little faster on their return trip. As you can see in this area, it's really neat because there's lots of trails going through here. So you can take some time, maybe when it's not raining, to walk back through and explore, because it's really very interesting here. I found some neat sunflowers here, but they are bowing the other direction in the wind. They're facing away from me, but I could imagine if they're facing this other direction when it's sunnier out, that would look really neat. Well, I better get a rain jacket on, or I'm going to be taking a shower out here. We will head on. The rainstorm has finally passed here. I'm still here at Yellow Mounds Overlook, and we can go and explore just a little bit more before we move on then. It was a nice refreshing rain. But now, we've got a little more sun poking through, which is cool. Wow, look at how awesome this is. So incredible. See a little thin trail going along there. I bet that's for the bighorn sheep. And although this is yellow mounds, it's really cool because there's a lot of red rock still here. Look at this contrast here as I come along this trail that I'd gone on. right next to the parking area. Look at that view. Isn't that awesome? And such incredible texture down there, the way the rocks are, or with the way the ground is. And the trail leads down here. You can hear the motorcycles in the background. Once the rain stopped, the people came out. So it's a lot more crowded now. And we'll have to admit it was a little nicer when it was a little more silent. There we go. Back to some peace and quiet and tranquility and just this beautiful, beautiful, good Badlands area. Yellow Mounds Overlook actually has like a kind of small parking area. Maybe a dozen cars or so, something like that. But there's a lot to adventure and see around here, so don't get mistaken by thinking it's just one little yellow mound. Get out and start walking around. There is a lot to see here.